नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Reading from the book Sri Ishopanishad, the knowledge that brings one nearer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, by His Divine Grace, Vishwaguru Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Mantra 15. हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापिहितं मुखम् तत्त्वं पूषन्नपावृणो सत्यधर्माय दृष्टये. Translation and purport by Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. We will read from the part where we left in the last session. The Paramatma feature of the personality of Godhead is one of the three plenary expansions or Vishnu Tattvas, collectively known as the Purusha Avataras. One of these Vishnu Tattvas, who is within the universe, is known as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. He is the Vishnu among the three principal deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and he is the all pervading Paramatma in each and every individual living entity. The second Vishnu Tattva within the universe is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, the collective super soul within all living entities. Beyond these two is Karanodakashayi Vishnu, who lies in the causal ocean. He is the creator of all universes. The yoga system teaches the serious student to meet the Vishnu Tattvas after going beyond the 24 material elements of the cosmic manifestation. The culture of empiric philosophy helps one realize the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, which is the glaring effulgence of the transcendental body of Lord Sri Krishna. That the Brahma Jyoti is Krishna's effulgence is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verse 27, as well as the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 40. यस्य प्रभा प्रभवतो जगदण्डकोटि कोटिष्वशेषवसुधादिविभूतिभिन्नम् तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमनन्तमशेषभूतम् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. In the millions and millions of universes, there are innumerable planets, and each and every one of them is different from the others by its cosmic constitution. All of these planets are situated in a corner of the Brahma Jyoti. This Brahma Jyoti is but the personal rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, whom I worship. This mantra from the Brahma Samhita is spoken from the platform of factual realization of the absolute truth, and the Shruti mantra of Sri Ishopanishad under discussion confirms this mantra as a process of realization. The Ishopanishad mantra is a simple prayer to the Lord to remove the Brahma Jyoti so that one can see his real face. This Brahma Jyoti effulgence is described in detail in several mantras of the Mundaka Upanishad 2.2.10 to 12. Hiranmaye pare koshe virajam brahma nishkalam tashubram jyotisham jyotis tadyad atma vido viduhu. न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोयम अग्निः. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Brahmaivedam amritam purastad brahma paschat brahma dakshinatas chottarena adhaschordhvam cha prasrutam brahmaihi vedam vishwam idam varishtham. In the spiritual realm, beyond the material covering, is the unlimited Brahman effulgence, which is free from material contamination. That effulgent white light is understood by transcendentalists to be the light of all lights. In that realm, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity for illumination. Indeed, whatever illumination appears in the material world is only a reflection of that supreme illumination. That Brahman is in front and in back, in the north, south, east, and west, and also overhead and below. In other words, that supreme Brahman effulgence spreads throughout both the material and spiritual skies. Perfect knowledge means knowing Krishna as the root of this Brahman effulgence. This knowledge can be gained from such scriptures as Srimad Bhagavatam, which perfectly elaborates the science of Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the author, Srila Vyasadeva, has established that one will describe the Supreme Truth as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan according to one's realization of Him. Srila Vyasadeva never states that the Supreme Truth is a Jiva, an ordinary living entity. The living entity should never be considered the all powerful Supreme Truth. If he were the Supreme, he would not need to pray to the Lord to remove his dazzling cover so that the living entity could see his real face. The conclusion is that one who has no knowledge of the potencies of the Supreme Truth will realize the impersonal Brahman. Similarly, when one realizes the material potencies of the Lord but has little or no information of the spiritual potencies, he attains Paramatma realization. Thus, both Brahman and Paramatma realization of the Absolute Truth are partial realizations. However, when one realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna in his full potency after the removal of the Hiranyamaya Patra, one realizes Vasudevaha Sarvam Iti. Lord Sri Krishna, who is known as Vasudeva, is everything Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He is Bhagavan, the root, and Brahman and Paramatma are his branches. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verses 46 and 47, there is a comparative analysis of the three types of transcendentalists: the worshippers of the impersonal Brahman or Jnanis, the worshippers of the Paramatma feature or the yogis, and the devotees of Lord Sri Krishna or bhaktas. It is stated there that the Jnanis, those who have cultivated Vedic knowledge, are better than ordinary fruitive workers, that the yogis are still greater than the Jnanis, and that among all yogis, those who constantly serve the Lord with all their energies are the topmost. In summary, a philosopher is better than a laboring man, a mystic is superior to a philosopher, and of all the mystic yogis, he who follows bhakti yoga, constantly engaging in the service of the Lord, is the highest. Sri Ishopanishad directs us towards this perfection. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. We have been discussing mantra 15 of Ishopanishad from the last two sessions. And in this mantra, there is a prayer that a devotee is offering to the Supreme Lord. And the devotee is praying that, "O Lord, I want to see your face, but your face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove this covering so that I may be able to see your beautiful face." Now, this mantra is very important because it establishes the fact that ultimately the absolute truth is beyond the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. He is a person. This is a very important lesson that we can learn from Ishopanishad. And it is also telling us, this mantra also tells us that we need to go beyond the Brahman realization. And in fact, we must go beyond the Paramatma realization. And ultimately, we have to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead and establish a loving relationship with Him. And that is the perfection of human life. Srila Prabhupada often said that human life is actually meant for realizing our relationship with Krishna. In fact, once Srila Prabhupada said, the perfection of a devotee is that he has to go back to the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavana and he has to join the dancing party of Radha and Krishna. This is the perfection of a devotee. So that means ultimately we must establish a loving relationship with Krishna. We are all personal beings. We are all, jivas are all individual entities, and we are all looking for perfection in our relationship in this material world. We look for friends, we look for people with whom we can share our feelings, we can share our miseries, our joyful moments, someone with whom we can openly discuss various aspects of our life, ups and downs of our life. We are looking for a perfect person who can match our frequency, our vibes, who can understand us perfectly, and who is truly our honest well wisher. We are looking for such a person, isn't it, in our life? And the Bhagavad Gita, the Ishopanishad is presenting that that person whom you're actually looking for is Krishna. Krishna himself declares in the Bhagavad Gita, Suhrudam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the supreme well wisher of all the jivas, of all living entities. So, unless we establish a loving relationship with Krishna, we cannot be completely satisfied. That is why Krishna says in the sixth chapter, last shloka, the topmost yogi is he who is intimately connected with me in devotional service. There are different kinds of transcendentalists, as Srila Prabhupada mentions in this purport, based on their degree of realization of the absolute truth. They are known as jnanis or yogis and bhaktas. So, jnanis are those who have realized the Brahman effulgence, the Brahman all pervading aspect of the Lord. They are called jnanis. And still higher than them are the yogis who meditate on the super soul, the Paramatma, within their hearts. No doubt the jnanis and yogis are connected with the absolute truth, but who is most intimately connected with the absolute truth? That is a devotee, a bhakta. And as we discussed in the previous session, unless we realize the transcendental knowledge by the association of a pure devotee, it is not possible for us to realize the Supreme Lord as the ultimate personality, Bhagavan. So, only by the mercy of a pure devotee who already has an intimate relationship with Krishna, we can enter into a personal, intimate relationship with Krishna. So, unless we take shelter of a guru who is a pure devotee, it is not possible for us to understand the personality of Godhead. So, here, one important thing that Srila Prabhupada mentions in this purport is, here it is said, thus both Brahman and Paramatma realizations of the absolute truth are partial realizations. However, when one realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in full potency, after the removal of the Hiranmaya Patra, one realizes Vasudevaha Sarvam Iti. Lord Sri Krishna, who is known as Vasudeva, is everything Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He is Bhagavan, the root, and Brahman and Paramatma are his branches. So beautifully Prabhupada has explained here. So, realizing the impersonal Brahmajyoti and the localized Paramatma both are partial realizations. Why they are known as partial realizations? Because in Brahman realization, we can only realize the Sat aspect of the absolute truth. Sat means eternity, existence. We can only realize that yes, the Lord is pervading everywhere. The absolute truth is pervading anywhere, everywhere in the form of his energies. And this is called Brahman. So it is a Sat feature. Sat means existing feature, eternal feature. But only realizing Sat feature cannot satisfy us completely because we are looking for something more. We are looking for an existential relationship, an eternal relationship. So in Brahma Jyoti effulgence, there is the understanding that yes, I exist and the absolute truth exists. That's all. That existence alone is realized. But in the Paramatma realization, another feature of the absolute truth, along with Sat, there is Chit aspect also, the knowledge aspect. Yes, the supreme absolute truth is existing. Not only he is existing, he is also cognizant. He is in knowledge of everything that is present in this cosmos. This is called the Chit feature of the absolute truth. That means the absolute truth exists. He not only exists, he is also aware. He is conscious. He knows me. He knows everything. Every nook and corner of this creation, he knows. This aspect is realized by the meditating yogis. But even this cannot completely satisfy the soul because, as we discussed, we, the souls, we are ultimately personalities. And personality needs personal relationship. Only then the personality finds its real satisfaction. So, therefore, one has to further search out and progress towards the ultimate understanding of the absolute truth, which is Bhagavan realization. So, Bhagavan. So, Bhagavan means he is person. He is the root of both Brahman and Paramatma. Brahman and Paramatma are the branches, and Bhagavan is the root. He is Sarvakarana Karanam, and he is a Vigraha, he is a form. And what kind of a Vigraha? He is Sat, Chit, and Ananda Vigraha. He is full of bliss, and he is always joyful. And he is heartily welcoming each soul. Why don't you come to me? You're looking for perfect relationship, isn't it? Why don't you come to me? You're actually looking for me. I can help you. You have an eternal relationship with me, and let us, you have forgotten that now, and I'm actually waiting for you. This is Krishna. So, Krishna is Sat, Chit plus Ananda Vigraha. He is an embodiment, he is the source of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. And a devotee who is intimately connected with Krishna, he need not search for happiness anywhere else because he has found an ocean of happiness in Krishna. You know, one example is there for this. One of the great acharyas in the Sri Vaishnava Parampara, Yamunacharya, he says, Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padara vindayoho. He says, ever since I have engaged myself in loving devotional service at the lotus feet of Krishna, whenever I get the desire for material happiness in the association of women, immediately I spit at that thought because every moment I'm experiencing greater bliss, greater happiness in the service of Sri Krishna. And on the strength of this greater happiness that I'm experiencing in association with Krishna, all other material happiness, all different kinds of pleasures of this material world, the highest of which is uh, pleasure with the opposite gender, that appears very insignificant to me. See, that means here Sri Yamunacharya is giving a a clue to us. You are looking for great pleasures. Whatever you try in this material world, you will not be satisfied. But the moment you start engaging in loving devotional service to Krishna, then you are experiencing every step great bliss, great pleasure, great happiness. That is possible in devotional service. Susukham kartum avyayam. Krishna says this in the ninth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Even a beginner in Bhakti Yoga, he can experience this great pleasure just by following the instructions of pure devotee spiritual master. Susukham kartum. It is joyfully performed, isn't it? So each time we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, each time we hear something about Krishna or Krishna's instructions, his activities, we should know that we are connecting with Krishna personally. Now, what is stopping us right now from intimately associating with Krishna? What is stopping us is our understanding that there is a lot of pleasure in this material world. Maybe I have not fulfilled, maybe I have not tried properly. If I try enough, more pleasure is awaiting me in the material world through this material processes. We still have some hope. This is what Prahlad Maharaj calls as Durashaya ye Bahirartha Maninaha. We are all Bahirartha. We have turned our face away from Krishna. Krishna is actually there in our heart. Instead of looking within, we are looking outside for pleasures in the wrong place, in the wrong way, and we are missing out a storehouse of great pleasure which is right there in our heart. Our relationship with Krishna can give us full satisfaction, but instead of that, we are having durashaya. We are maintaining false hopes that one day I'll become happy in this material world. I don't need Krishna. So, this is our misfortune. So, as long as we continue to maintain this durashaya, even though we know from Srila Prabhupada's books that we have to ultimately surrender to Krishna and render devotional service to Krishna, we will not be able to realize the personhood of the Lord. We will not be able to establish a loving relationship with Krishna. Why? We have durashaya. We think that I can enjoy in this material world independent of Krishna. So, unless we give up this independent enjoyment tendency, it is not possible to establish ourselves in a loving relationship with Krishna. This is the secret. This is very important. So we cannot say, I want to have an intimate, loving relationship with Krishna. Side by side, I also want to maintain hopes for enjoyment in this material world. No, it doesn't work. So, therefore, we have to, through hearing philosophy, by reading Srila Prabhupada books, by the process of sadhana, chanting the holy names attentively, we have to purify our purpose of life. Generally, the purpose of our life we think is to enjoy nicely in this material world. That has to go, that contamination has to go. Then, when our purpose is purified, then when our only purpose is in whatever I do, I have to simply serve Krishna. My goal is to simply serve Krishna. When we come to that purpose, then we begin to enter into a personal, loving relationship with Krishna. That is the point. So, therefore, all the instructions given in the Vedic scriptures are meant to bring us to this point that we are not independent at any moment. It is only an illusion. Out of ignorance, we are thinking we can plan and enjoy independently. That will simply bring us more and more miseries. That will simply take us more and more far away from Krishna. Therefore, we have to realize that I belong to Krishna. I have to serve Krishna. That is the purpose of my life. This is what all the Vedic scriptures are telling us. This is what all the acharyas are teaching us. And this is what we should realize through the process of Krishna consciousness. I am meant only to serve Krishna and nothing else. When this becomes the sole purpose of our existence, then we begin to appreciate the personhood of the Lord, how the Lord is such a loving, caring person. And all this while I was missing. I missed my eternal relationship with Krishna. I, in search of something futile, temporary, something meaningless in this world. So that is why this mantra is telling us, O Lord, the prayer is by the devotee, O Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. So we can talk to the Lord face to face. It is possible, but for that we need to qualify. And the qualifying process is the process of Krishna consciousness. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked by some of his disciples, Prabhupada, you are when you talk to different people, you know exactly what to speak to each person, and exactly you speak that thing which will inspire that person. How is this possible? Is Paramatma in your heart directing you? Is he telling you what exactly you should speak? Prabhupada said, no, I am speaking to Krishna personally, and Krishna tells me. That means Prabhupada is saying that a pure devotee can have a personal relationship with Krishna. Another occasion, Prabhupada said, these books that I am writing, these are personally written by Krishna. These are written by Krishna. A very similar thing, another devotee asked, Prabhupada, you are writing so many purports for Bhagavatam. Is Paramatma in your heart dictating? Prabhupada said, no. Krishna is personally speaking, and I'm just penning them down. I'm writing what Krishna is speaking. That means Prabhupada has a personal relationship with Krishna. Right? Now, another occasion, Prabhupada was speaking to some devotees, and Prabhupada said, see, I'm an old man, and in spite of this, I'm able to do so much service. You're all young people. Why don't you stretch a little bit and do a little more better service? Something like that, Prabhupada was speaking. This is about, getting up early in the morning. Prabhupada used to stay awake. He would get up by 1 o'clock in the midnight. 1 to 4, he would write, dictate purports. So, in that context, Prabhupada was saying, and immediately one of the disciples said, Prabhupada, you are a pure devotee. Anything is possible for you. Then immediately the reply of Srila Prabhupada was, why are you not a pure devotee? Who is stopping you from being a pure devotee? Right? That means Prabhupada did not say, yes, only I can do because I am a pure devotee. Prabhupada said, everyone is capable of becoming a pure devotee. It is possible for anyone to become a pure devotee. The only process that we have to follow is Mahajano Yena Gatassa Panthaha. We have to follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees, the Mahajanas, the previous Acharyas. Then it is possible by following in their footsteps exactly, by following their instructions, we can also raise ourselves to the platform of pure devotional service where we can one to one personally talk to Krishna, interact with Krishna. It is possible. And Prabhupada said it is very much possible through the process of Krishna consciousness. So, in our dealings with others, also, we should be careful, we should not become impersonal, right? For example, if you are doing the service of serving prasadam, you cannot simply, without applying your minds, you cannot simply keep, mindlessly serving in all the plates, right? That is an impersonal approach, right? That is not the way a devotee should serve prasadam. With each devotee, I should go, make an eye contact, ask, Prabhu, would you like to take some more? Shall I serve this much? Should I give little more? This is personal. We are all personalists, isn't it, devotees? We are trying to establish a personal relationship with Krishna. So we should also be personal in our approach towards other devotees, towards others. Empathy. The materialistic people, they talk about being empathetic. Empathetic means what? Trying to get into the other person's shoes, trying to see the world from the other person's point of view. Now, this is very much important for a devotee, right? When we are trying to preach Krishna consciousness, we should understand what can I say to this person which can inspire him. Think from the other person's point of view. This is very important. That is another example for being personal in our approach towards others. We cannot simply say, I have a ready made class, I have made some points, I'll go and repeat like a parrot the same thing to everybody. It will not work. Then you are not trying to understand each person's individual choices, preferences. That's not the way we should preach. So this is another. So many times we are impersonal in our approach, and that is why many times we are ineffective, right? Another very interesting thing that, for example, if you are doing a service of making phone calls and inviting certain number of devotees or some students to our program, weekly program, right? So we talk, each person, we make a call, we dial, we talk to that person. So instead of being very impersonal, yeah, we have a program like this, why don't you come? That's all. Instead of being like that, we will be more effective if we can understand a little more about that person's life, his realities, his challenges, so that we are personally trying to talk to him and say, oh, you're having this kind of a challenge. Okay, I think this session can really help you. Why don't you come? I think when you come this Sunday for the program, you can talk about this with Prabhu and you can find a solution for this from the Bhagavad Gita. So when you are more personal, it touches the other person when you are trying to connect the Krishna conscious philosophy to that person. So that brings in real transformation in that person. Rather than having one size fits all, one common script I have, and I'm going to repeat for everyone, same thing. No. Another thing that we could do in the calling service, right? We can pray to the Lord. This is exactly what Srila Prabhupada did when he reached America. Prabhupada prayed to the Lord. I'm not qualified, but you have brought me to this foreign land. If you have brought me, Krishna, that means you must be having some plan in your mind. I'm not very qualified to preach, but I can pray to you. I pray to you that please make my words suitable for their understanding. See how Prabhupada is praying to the Lord, teaching us that we should depend on Krishna in our endeavors to spread Krishna consciousness. So before we make call to each person, we can pray to Krishna. Oh Lord, you are seated in my heart. You are seated in the heart of the person whom I'm calling right now. Please make my words suitable for that person's understanding so that he can become, he can take up this message, he can come to our session this weekend, right? So each person, when you're making a call, before making a call for each person, you can make a prayer to the Lord. So in that way, our consciousness will also, otherwise, we will think that it is just a work, a task of making some 20 calls. Where is devotional service? We have to bring the devotional aspect into this calling by involving the Lord. Oh Lord, I'm making calls so that this person becomes inspired. He takes to devotional service and comes to your lotus feet. Please make me an instrument. Please help me speak exactly those words which can strike the person whom I'm calling. So, in this way, this is called a personal approach. This is what differentiates task from devotional service. Task I may be expertly doing, but am I depending on Krishna? Am I involving Krishna? Am I conscious of Krishna? Ma manusmara yudhyacha. Am I doing this? This is what makes the whole difference. So Srila Prabhupada did this. He had a very personal approach. In fact, Prabhupada once said in one conversation, he said that in the free time, Prabhupada would go and study the Americans, their lifestyle. He would go to the busy places, marketplaces, and other places, and he would observe how the Americans speak, what are their choices, how do they converse. All these things Prabhupada would observe, and this Prabhupada said helped him to connect with the people. So it is very important that we are all not only the receivers of this message, we are also meant to spread this message. Therefore, it is important to be personal in our preaching, in our approach towards others. So, these are some of the points that we can also reflect upon from this mantra 15 of Sri Ishopanishad. The Lord is a person, all the living entities are persons, and only establishing a personal relationship with Krishna, we can attain real happiness and satisfaction. With this, we come to the end of today's session. Shri Ishopanishad ki jai, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
In a short while, we will be chanting the shlokas from the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita.